Hi, my name is Mia, your safety trainer for today. Make sure you sign off on your mobile device to receive credit for this lesson. Work can be tough. Some days the boss is breathing down your neck and other days you might end up with a nail in your hand. We can't help you with your boss, but we can help you prevent exposure to certain hazards on the job site. Precautions like elimination, substitution, isolation, administrative, and/or engineering controls can help protect employees from hazards. But where they fall short, personal protection equipment comes in handy, and goggly, and helmety. In this video, we'll cover the common hazards that can be found in a work environment, what protective equipment should be worn in the face of said hazards, and the inspections that should be done to keep the second P in PPE. For some, a work hazard can be avoiding an open pit or a buzzsaw. For others, it's avoiding Karen. Whatever your hazards, you should always ensure you have protective measures in place. Speak to your supervisor if you have questions about hazards at work. Here are just a few of the more common hazards you could encounter. You can't watch out for hazards without your eyes. Eye irritation and eye injuries happen all the time on the job site, except by those who've had their eyes poked out with a rebar. Hazards aren't just out for eyes. There's a whole lot more surface these things can attack. When it comes to hazards, we've all got a lot of skin in the game. Then there's cuts, lacerations, or punctures. The work should be done on your materials, not your person. You need to always keep your head on, and you can't do that if your head gets bonked. Huh? What? Who's talking to me? Just kidding. But I mean, hearing loss is also a hazard. Burns, electrical shock, or electrocution all can ruin your day in a flash. Slips, trips, or falls are always going down. Even if you wrap yourself in bubble wrap, there are still some hazards that can leave you breathless. Suffocation will turn you cold quick, but not as cold as frostbite. Cold weather isn't the only exposure you have to worry about. There's radiation exposure, and exposure to chemicals or solvents that are enough to make your skin crawl or flesh peel. But nothing brings the heat quite like heat. Heat exposure can cause illness just the same as hard impact can cause bruising and fractures. There are many other hazards to worry about that are all increased with fatigue, so I won't wear you out. Just be sure you understand the hazards of your work environment and be sure you have the right PPE for the hazards you face. Like the hazards themselves, the equipment used to protect you varies worksite by worksite. Here are a few of the basic types of personal protective equipment. We'll start at the top with head protection. Keeping that coconut from cracking is a top priority, because that's your think box. This equipment includes hard hats, bump caps, and helmets, and not industrial hair gel or a thick skull. Next, the eyes have it. Protection, that is. It doesn't take much to mess up those peepers. So cover them up with safety glasses, goggles, or laser safety glasses. Sunglasses or prescription glasses won't cut it, or worse, your eyeball will get cut. They do make prescription safety glasses, you know. Listen up, before it's too late. Hearing protection is super important in a loud environment. Wearing earmuffs or earplugs are essential to you not saying, "What?" for the rest of your life. Another way to save your face is face protection. Unless you like looking like a burnt piece of cauliflower, you need to be sure to wear a face shield or welding shield when required. It's not just about looks, we're preventing injury here, and if that isn't already clear, let me give you a hand. Or give yourself two. By wearing gloves, you can keep both of them. Hands, that is. The type of glove depends on the job, but just know there are vinyl, nitrile, latex, chemical resistant, insulated, cut puncture resistant, and electrically insulated gloves. So make sure you're using the right glove for the job. It's not a tough concept to grasp if you have the right gloves. The hands aren't the only body part that matters. There are plenty of other parts you don't want to catch the wrong splash or spark on. Trust me. But there are other articles of clothing that are more than just a fashion statement. No matter how stupid you may think you look in them, you'll look even worse, injured or dead. These articles include long-sleeved clothing, close-fitted clothing, reflective vests or jackets, chemical and/or hazmat suits, coveralls, aprons, chaps, waders, and leg guards. There are many more, but this is a safety video, not a fashion commercial. Just know what your job requires and wear that. You'll of course want to stay healthy both inside and out. This starts with your lungs and respiratory protection. Respiratory protection includes a nuisance dust mask, which should be noted is not a respirator like a filtering face piece respirator like an N95, a half-piece respirator, a full-face respirator, a PAPR or power air purifying respirator, a supplied air respirator, or a combination respirator. There's also self-contained breathing apparatus or SCBAs. Wow, that was a lot. Let me catch my breath, which I can still do thanks to respiratory protection. Just make sure it's the right respiratory protection for the job. I don't want to get caught with my foot in my mouth here. Speaking of feet, let's protect those while we're at it. Unless you're Fred Flintstone, you'll have something on your feet at the workplace, but is it enough? Here are some types of foot PPE that will keep you from yelling yabba dabba do or ending up in a bedrock. Slip resistant, steel or composite toed, waterproof, puncture resistant, chemical resistant, thermally insulated, dielectric electric overshoes, metatarsal guards, shoe covers, static dissipative shoes, and electrical hazard rated shoes. Is that enough shoes or what? With the right protection on your feet, it will be quite the feat to get hurt. Though regardless of your footwear, you can still take a dive. Some jobs have fall protection to cover you in such an instance. These include a personal fall resistant system and a personal fall arrest system. This covers some of the PPE available, but again, make sure you know what your specific job site requires and when you should wear it. To help identify when personal protective equipment should be worn, a job hazard or task hazard analysis should be conducted to identify hazards that exist in the workplace. In addition to the analysis, manufacturer-provided safety data sheets, also known as an SDS, and operator or owner manuals should also be consulted. When it comes to PPE, it's best to err on the side of caution. Just wear it, but also make sure it's not worn out. You should always give your PPE a once-over before throwing it on. You should look for cracks, tears, fraying, chips, scratches, scrapes, hole or missing stitches, cuts, punctures, discoloration, holes, and general wear and tear when conducting the inspection. All damage should be reported to your supervisor and either repaired or replaced. To help make sure that the provided PPE lasts and does its job, you need to make sure it's properly cleaned and maintained. Don't treat this like a quick floss before the dentist. This needs to be cleaned in accordance with the manufacturer's instructions and your company's policies and procedures. There are hazards that exist, and you need to protect yourself from them. PPE is the way, so be sure you wear and maintain your personal protective equipment and keep yourself well. Any questions can be directed at your supervisor. That's all for today's lesson, and remember, stay safe out there.